all that was to bring in a lot more people into the tax net. So we will see that at the end of the year, we had missed our revenue targets. And the government is, and they don't like to use this word, but we have to face reality. It's as broke as it was before. Then you add other things that were not anticipated that happened during the year. Biggest issue in the economy was the financial crisis and the effect of that crisis on the public purse, the effect of that crisis on the economy as a whole.
Okay.
That was not anticipated. And then you can't run away from the fact that there was, in the State of the Nation address, there was an element of the cedi and guarding the cedi and protecting the cedi, and that obviously didn't also happen. So where the economy is concerned, there are some major issues that we need to hear from the government as to what is happening. It's fine to say inflation is going in the right direction, and we've had the lowest official inflation rate I have ever seen as an adult. It's fine to say the economy is growing. It's fine to say all that, but I tell you, at the bottom is a marked sense of malaise where everybody feels that things are not good.
They say it's not a hopeless situation yet because it takes time to repair what was destroyed. Do you agree?
It does take time. But we've got to make sure that the process that will transmit the relative wealth that we say we are creating especially in the non-oil sector of in the oil sector of this economy can be transmitted across.
Okay.
There's still challenges with jobs. Agric is still not delivering anywhere near where it is supposed to. So there are a lot of challenges. The real challenges at the bottom.
The exporting of the excesses we've had from the agric sector to Cote d'Ivoire and other countries doesn't market for you for agric?
No, it doesn't market.
It doesn't market.
Our cocoa trees are getting older. Our cocoa production levels are falling. The employment that agric was supposed to create is not happening. Right? And so let us not look at outliers and a few. Really, let's take this economy as a whole. Right? Last year, God is good. We had relatively good weather. And so food prices kept the same. This year, indications from the metro is that we may not get as good weather as we thought last year. The One Village, One Dam, which was one of the fantastic initiatives, that initiative has stalled. How many dams have actually reached completion and have started to provide irrigation services? That's the question we must ask. It's not just the bulldozers halfway through. Those who are building the dams are complaining that they have not been paid. Is that initiative fantastic? Listen, it is great. It has hope of moving us from rain-fed to irrigation. That could change the face of agric in this country. And agric employs, what, 40% of the people in this country?
So you're saying we could do better?
We could do better. And remember that the honeymoon is over. This could be the most important State of the Nation address for the legacy of the first 4 years. First 4 years or not of this era of His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo.
Right. Prof, let me turn my attention to you now. Asempa budget, Ejuma budget, and all the other budgets that have come, fallout from them will be the State of the Nation address that we've heard. This will be the third we will be hearing from the President. Are you as disappointed as Mr. Jackson is?
First of all, I should say that it is a continuous challenge that we have had since the independence of this nation. I will not limit it to this particular government, but in terms of governance of our nation, have we clearly defined the direction in which we want to go? Is there a fit between what our leaders say and what is on the ground? And then coming back to Asempa budget and all those, I think that there's a sense in which we may remain optimistic to say that, well, our country is still relatively young after several centuries of psychological, emotional, mental torture, and so on and so forth. But we have come a long way. We have learnt from other people, from our own experiences. But it appears that there's a disconnect between what leadership says and what is on the ground.
Even with the institutions we have, the National Development Planning Commission is there.
Yes, all those institutions are good. They meet regularly, they do their work. But when there is no fit between theory and practice, when what ought to be is not what is, then there's a challenge that we all face. And I should say that for now, it appears that we talk more than we do.
Where does the challenge come from?
There's a gap there. We have beautiful policies. You get statements from all the institutions, from the president himself, well-written, beautiful language, but how are those executed? Where are the resources to back the execution? And when it comes to those very agencies that are to execute, do they have the backing to execute them, the resources to execute them? Above all, have we really sat down to evaluate why many of those policies in the past have failed? It appears that we are eager to come out with new policies, new things that would, populist policies that would appeal to the masses of the people because we want to win the next. Really do on the ground, it's not seen, it's not felt. And many, including me, are complaining today that our salaries are not enough to do anything at all. The common saying among some of my colleagues is, in the past you could go out and come back with change in your pocket. Now you go out, come back with debt. Okay? And so where are we going? Bottom line, it's we don't have a clearly defined development paradigm that we follow. We seem to be following personal, partisan agenda. Sometimes we even follow personal, individual agenda that we set, and we think that that should inure to the benefit of the nation.
But Prof, the 40-year development plan, as we got to know about it, is there. It's been done and dusted. Professor Nimue Thompson and his team put together that. Is that not enough? Your outfit, for example, shapes a lot of public policy. So
yes,
we don't lack the expertise. How come in measuring or delivering on our promise becomes a problem? How come?
How come? Because many a time, as I intimated earlier, we make these policies without taking cognizance of the context within which we want to implement the policies. We want to have a policy for teachers, for education. Do we involve the teachers in the decision-making process? We want to have a policy of one dam, one village, one dam. How many times have we involved the communities, the affected communities, in the decision-making process? Okay, one district, one factory. Have we been able to organize any forum of business people within the districts to input into the policies we make? It appears that we are in the comfort of our offices at the center, and then we come out with these policies. But when we go on the ground to implement them, we realize so many challenges. We don't have enough resources, financial resources, and other resources to back it up. So we have the policy and we are eager to implement. We say that youth employment, we recruit so many people and yet we don't have the resources to pay them. Okay, we whet the appetite of various communities, or the dam is coming, and we see one bulldozer on a payloader passing, and then we cheer, and we don't see the end product. Okay, we are waiting for the factories, we don't see them. Now, agric, for example, what type of agricultural policy do we want to pursue? Are we still on the whole and cutlass agriculture thing? Right. Since agric is the mainstay of our economy, do we want to pursue the whole and cattle thing? And those who want to go into commercial farming, how are we supporting them?
Fertilizers are being given to them.
And the fertilizers, we hear some fertilizers have remained in storage and getting in bad state. Okay, so we should sit back, evaluate what has transpired, what has gone wrong with us. It's not as if sometimes we say that we know our challenges, but the challenges pertaining to the implementation of policies. Okay. We should not be eager to come up with new policies while there are other policies we have not yet evaluated effectively.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I think. It's something we should be considering now. It's not about the beauty of the speech. Okay. It's not about how well written the policy is. It's how we execute those policies to benefit a cross-section of Ghanaians.
Interesting. Mr. Bona, let me draw you into this conversation from a security perspective. Mr. Jackson has listed a lot of things. Prof has added on to it. An indication that, look, what is promised is not what is delivered in most of the cases, or never at all. It does have security implications, because if people are hungry, they would look for a way to survive. If people go to the farm and they go and plant and they harvest and they can't sell, it causes a problem. If people go out there, they sweat it out and they come back with debt in their pocket, as Prof says, they will deal with the situation. From where you sit as a security expert, how do these things impact on security?
Yes, thank you very much, and good morning to my co-panelists and your viewers. Unemployment has a direct relation with security. And so if you come to an economy like ours, the type of insecurity we see, you don't have to be a researcher to say that, this has a direct relation to, what do you call it, the economy we find ourselves in, where, you have young people who take up arms or who form all sorts of groups just because they want to make ends meet. And so for me, yes, that is true. But I would want to probably also veer into some of the discussions with regards to the economy. For
Absolutely.
me, where I sit, if you ask me, this one district, one factory, one village, one dam thing, some form of implementation has started, I'm told. But the fact is that I've had people call me, and I've checked, and it is true, where the project, someone sits in Accra and awards a project to somebody in Accra to go to probably my hometown, maybe Issa, and to go and implement. If you do that, what you are doing is that you are taking away resources that should have been put into the local economy. Because you don't want people traveling from, all over the country, into the city. When you do that, that's fuels the spate of insecurity we have. You want people to be back there, because over there there will be less rent to pay, there will be probably enough food to eat if you put the resources into the local economy. And so I'm expecting the president to probably, can we have a new paradigm? Let's have a paradigm shift from what we currently have, where someone sits in Accra, takes all the decisions for the people out there, so everybody wants to come to Accra to be able to make ends meet. Also with regards
to... We have decentralization. We have...
But it's not working. For instance,
local governors.
For instance, if you have the ministry... Let me put it bluntly. You have the Ministry of Special Initiatives,
yes, special initiatives,
which is doing the work probably of what the local government ministry of some of these ministries...
There's business development.
Business, well. So you have... Just like we have in the security sector, where you have Interior Minister, you have Minister of the National Security, a Minister in charge of National Security at the Presidency. And so you have some amount of confusion. I hope the President would give us some sense of direction in this area. And then coming down, before I'll come to the security.
Let me quickly ask a question. The President had a unique style in announcing his ministers. And he calls the minister, he speaks about his credentials, and he gives them a specific mandate. We saw that for all the 110 of them. So somebody may argue from the point of government that there's no confusion because everybody had a clear-cut terms of reference. What do you say to that?
Well, the point is that these are individuals. And you might give me, call it a job description or sense of direction from the word go. But if supervision is poor, I think there is a sector that is supposed to be evaluating and monitoring all of these sectors.
Right,
planning. I haven't really heard, that sector minister or whoever is in charge, come out to come and tell us that this is the performance of all these people. You also have probably complain about the economy and why inflation, and I'm not an economist, but at least I did economics too, for my A levels. And so I understand, and I'm an employer, and so I understand the dynamics when it comes to probably some amount of economics. Look at the free senior high school. I mean, where I sit, you tell me you want to pay my children's school fees. You don't have to pay. And so you should give me the choice to pay my children's school fees, and then those who cannot pay, you pay for them.
Targeting.
But you target them and you let them pay. And so you are looking at it, and how much is free senior high school affecting the local economy? Probably, my colleague here from Dalex Finance and the policy man here will tell us, how much is that affecting the local economy? The ripple effect, what is it doing to us? Because then today you have, the financial institutions are in crisis and it's affecting everybody. Now coming down to security, the last year's State of the Nation's address, the President did mention 800 million allocated to the police.
That's right.
As we speak, I don't know how much of that money has been expended. We were told that vehicles would be purchased for the police. As far as I'm concerned, some amount of vehicles a number of vehicles have been bought. But I do also know that the vehicles that were recently given to the police, the Toyota Camaros and the rest, are not supposed to be part of the 800 million.
Okay.
Because if you know, the previous administration had purchased some presidential fleets.
Okay.
And when this administration took over, they did some refencing or something. They cut down the number of vehicles to be bought.
Right.
So there was a change of about $8 to $10 million. And that money was supposed to go into the purchase of these vehicles we see today. And so mine is that, have we seen the 800 million spent?
And you say you have not seen it?
No, I haven't. If you ask me from where I sit,
okay.
I was expecting that at least the police and probably the other security agencies, let's limit it to the police, would have had, because they have a shortfall of about 4,500 vehicles. And so if you add about 300, it's like slapping an elephant. It won't feel it. And so these are the challenges.
Okay.
Then you want to talk about recruitment. These are very key.
Right.
We were told that recruitment, quickly was going to go into the police and the rest. We've had immigration have done theirs. I think the fire service is on it. The police had a recruitment and shortlisted 4,000, applicants who would be going for training. As we speak, the process is still ongoing. 1 year on, probably not 50% of them have been, recruited. And so mine is that I want to hear the President give us some sense of direction.
Right.
Last year around this time, the reason why some of us pushed for the President to make a categorical statement with regards to security had to do with some amount of insecurity.
We'll talk about that and what the minority said about it. Mr. Just let me come to you. So job creation, or if you like, the independence of the people in terms of the economy is very important. The government has put up NAPCO, Planting for Food and Jobs. Now we're told about Rearing for Food and Jobs and all of that. How have they performed in your eyes from where you sit? in terms of liberating the people economically?
Well, let's start with NAPCO. My challenge always with NAPCO has been that we are doing the same thing over and over again. How different is NAPCO from all the things we've done before? Yes, GDA, etc. Yeah. And look at the horrendous amounts of corruption that came out of these efforts. What shows that NAPCO will be any different? And in any case, is that a true job? Is our response to job creation to swell the numbers of government paid workers? Or is our response to create a private sector effort that will give you a real job, that will give you hope, and so you are on NAPCO. That's fine this year, fine next year. What happens after that? Are we just going to keep pumping money to pay these 100,000 so-called jobs? I have challenges with NAPCO. I've always challenged the numbers for Planting for Food and Jobs. At one point, they're supposed to have created 745,000 jobs. I challenge that number, and I say I don't believe that number. If we had created that many jobs, we will feel the difference. Planting for Food and Jobs, fantastic idea, great initiative. Where's it gone to? I don't feel it. Rearing for Food and Jobs, the jury's still out. Point is, if you ask me, this year's State of the Nation address, don't tell us anything new.
Why not?
Focus on the things that you've said that are fantastic. One village, one dam, one district, one factory, planting for food and jobs. Take the same State of the Nation initiatives we announced in 2 years ago, that God has also, and do one thing: execute. And people who fail, ministers who fail, authorities who fail, should be brought to book.
I don't want to remind you of an unfortunate incident, but I saw a tweet of yours talking about your cousin who had to lose his life because of an ambulance. We had previously been promised that one constituency, one ambulance, at least. We're going to get that. There's also in the mix one constituency, 1 million cedis.
$1 million.
$1 million. I beg your
Not
pardon.
1 million. That's a big difference.
Forgive me, $1 million, because that's 5 times more.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that? We have not seen that happen.
But that's the point I'm making. That don't give us any new initiatives this year. Don't tell us anything new. The National ID project, if it's not working, somebody must be brought to book. It's 2 years after it was announced. It was supposed. If you go to the State of the Nation address in February 2017, it was supposed to be implemented fully in 1 year. That year has passed. Another year has passed. Where are we?
The registration is on. Better late than never.
Well, it's fine to. We are in a hurry. We are in a hurry, and I'm quoting my president, the one who gave us all hope and got us all excited. He said he's in a hurry. We are in a hurry. What is the bottleneck? Why is it not being cleared? When we announced 111 ministries and ministers, the only thing what we said was that if they will achieve these objectives in the time that they've set out, nobody will begrudge them 200 ministers. The point is that execution is not coming on. And so if you ask me, I don't want to hear any new initiatives.
Okay.
I just want to hear that the things that you said you will do in the time span that you said you will do.
Okay. The steps being taken to achieve those.
Thank you. And if you ask me, the only new initiative is how we will bring those who are in charge. You see, the president is not expected to do everything himself.
Mr. Jackson,
he has his team.
Hold on for it. Well, the president is not supposed to do all things by himself, but Mercy Darling Loco, my colleague, is in Parliament now. She's in the chamber. I'm told she has some members of the Council of State who advise the president, or are supposed to advise the president.
And welcome
with
to
her.
TV3.
Thank you.
Okay, so today the president is going to deliver the State of the Nation's address. What exactly are your expectations?
We've all been with His Excellency for the last 2 years, and we all know what he had to inherit. Challenges were galore. So 2 years, the transformation that he's been able to put up makes me feel very confident that President has a lot of goodness to shower on this country.
Are you satisfied with the work so far? Because there are complaints, especially with regards to security.
With what?
There are issues or concerns, especially with regards to security. Are you satisfied?
Security, we've had these difficulties in the past. Security problems will be there all the time, except that it's got to be minimized. And you know what? When you put somebody into a dungeon and you release him, he tends to grow wings. That's the situation in which we are going now. But we all want to believe that he's coming to give us assurance as to what will be done to keep this country, in very good shape.
So you are confident the president is going to give us that assurance?
Very, very confident. That's why I am here. I want to see him personally delivering that magic message. So you will be happier also.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. I'm still here in the main chamber. I am also here to speak to Nana Susubribi Korobia Asante, who is a member of the National Peace Council and the Omahene of Asante Asokore, popularly known as Dr. SKB Asante. Good morning, Nana, and welcome to TV3.
Good morning.
So today we are expecting the president to give the State of the Nation's address. What are your expectations?
Well, as a member of the National Peace Council, I'm interested in anything that the president will say about peace and security in the country. As you know, there have been a few developments which have been disturbing. I'm sure the president has all this in mind and that he will address them in his speech. We cannot have development without peace and security. Our democracy will not work unless there is a foundation of peace. And so peace and security are very critical, and I hope that he will address the measures which will ensure this peace and security. Okay. Then also, as Omahene, I'm interested in development. We chiefs see ourselves as development partners for the government. So I'm interested in what the president has to say, particularly about education. I applaud his initiatives in free education. There are certain implications which I'm sure he's aware of, and I hope that he will address them. Finally, as a former international official who has seen development in countries such as Korea and China, I am very interested in what the president has to say to give effect to his vision of Ghana beyond aid. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nana, for your time. I also have here Mr. Samuel Okucheto, who is also a member of the Council of State. Good morning, sir, and welcome to TV3.
Good morning.
Today you are here to listen to exactly what the president is going to tell us about the state of the nation. Many have raised concerns with regards to security and the fact that the economy is not doing so well. What are your expectations of the president this morning? What would you expect him to tell us to reassure Ghanaians that we are all safe and everything is going to be fine?
Well, I don't want to be a soothsayer, but I'm sure the very issue that you have raised, I'm sure he's going to address and give us an assurance. I mean, that's what we require.
But as a member of the Council